dance to this.
Yeah.
They might.
Yeah.
You know.
Is you ready for me? Is you ready for me? Is you ready for me? Is you ready for me?
This ass gon' go, baby.
Spotless.
Yeah.
Check it.
Igga.
Check it.
Yeah.
Is you ready for me? Is you ready for me?
This ass gon' go right here. Yeah. Line 'em up. Yo. I pull up in a throwback car, gray 7-8 with the top that's hard. I'm finna paint it back, send it on black tires. Fuck a backseat, got its own backyard. Niggas act hard, try to put a Mac card. Stunt in front of they dame, they playin' back far. Cause they get their ass kicked in front of they chick. And the niggas that they was with dip, ain't that a bitch? Young keys flow under the weather. Come through, something real big under the leather. Lil' mama, get your mind out the gutter. I'm talking about that 9, motherfucker. I grind like a hustler, CDs, tapes, the weed, whatever the case may be. I chase that cheese and never ever face Lil B. Now watch how I say Stampede. Here we go. Niggas know what's up. Sick flow, sick beats, finna blow what's up. Thick cold, thick freaks, finna blow what's up. Hit dro, hit sweets, niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My click is down.
Niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My click is down.
Niggas know, yeah. I pull up with a throwback dime. She say she 25, she at least 29. But man, them hips on her, lips on her, finna let it rip on her, flip on her, then dip on her. This is for them classy chicks, them undercover nasty chicks, them trashy chicks. Ain't scared to flash me quick. Oh, look at that ass, she thick. I can't let you pass me, miss. Off the chain, young keys spitting hot flows off the brain. Holla at me when you're ready to get off the lanes and on some real shit. I'm the one you deal with, feel me? Run game like Diddy in the marathon. Get shitty, drop 50 on the marijuana. Either give me 4 ducks or pearl swans. Young keys, S and I dime. Niggas know what's up. Sick flow, sick beats, finna blow what's up. Thick cold, thick freaks, finna blow what's up. Hit dro, hit sweets, niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My click is down.
Niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My click is down.
Take money, money, get money, money is my slogan. I cop what you guys is boasting. My game worldwide like oceans. Getting at these.
What's good? What's good? What's good? Any and everybody, what's good? What's up? What's up? Who's in the house? Who's in the house? What's good with you? What's good with you? Hold on, give me a second here. Give me a second. Y'all know what's up. Give me a second. All right, audio's working. What's good, everybody? What's good? We back. We back. We back. News going on. You know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, these fighters, man. They wait until a legend retires to come out of the woodworks and try to speak on something they should just let go, man. Errol Spence Jr. says at this point he's a better fighter than Manny Pacquiao. And you know I was on my vacation from YouTube. I was on my tubecation, and I was just going through some videos, looking through some articles, and I ran across what Errol Spence has said in the press conference. Ryan Lamb, yo, what's good with you, bro? What's good, man? How you been, bro? Hope all is well with you. But yeah, I ran across what Errol Spence said in the press conference about Pacquiao and how he's a better fighter at this point in his boxing career than Manny Pacquiao, and that basically Pacquiao should be lucky, he didn't get in the ring with Errol Spence. And when I heard it, I had to laugh, because I was like, man, I knew this was coming. I knew at some point Errol Spence is gonna stick his head out there and say something about Pacquiao. because there was so much backlash from him backing out of that fight. I just knew I knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? And for him to say it and him to put it in the words that he put it in is kind of disrespectful, if you ask me. Of his view of Pacquiao, he should have just kind of you know just left it alone. Really, he shouldn't have really even said anything. Pacquiao's retired at this point, so he should have just left it. But he went there and he basically, he basically kind of downed Pacquiao as a fighter at the end of his career. It's funny that Mayweather used a tactic like that against Pacquiao. I don't know if you can call it him. Maybe he's kind of calling Pacquiao out in a way, But to me, I think he's just trying to be disrespectful of Pacquiao, trying to use Pacquiao's name for some promotion, blow this fight up a little more than maybe what it is at this point. Because I don't think I don't think this fight is going to do as well as what people think it's going to do, as far as the numbers and the pay per view and all that. Ugas' name is not that big. This is just it's an unfortunate event for Pacquiao fans that he lost to Ugas, and I think unfortunately for Ugas personally, because he's on PBC, Errol Spence is on. I don't see Ugas winning this fight. I think he might give Errol Spence some good rounds, but I don't see Errol Spence losing this fight. They're setting up for something big in the future. Hopefully, it's the Terrence Crawford fight. Uh, I don't know if the Crawford fight is going to be next. I think Crawford might have something else lined up for his next fight, but they're definitely not looking forward to Ugas beating Spence in any way. And for Spence to come out and say that that he's a better fighter than Pacquiao, I think it goes to show that he actually, to me, he backed out of that. He just kind of he ducked out of the Pacquiao fight. As much as people want to say it was a eye injury, uh, I still don't believe it. At the end of the day, I still don't believe it. I think Earl Spence ducked out of that fight, and I think Ugas got lucky winning that fight. I don't know, I got the fight playing in the background. I don't know what happened to Pacquiao that day. All I know is when ES News announced to Pacquiao that the Spence fight was off, Pacquiao didn't have the same fiery look on his face. If you ask me, I think at that point he'd given up on the sport. And the Ugas fight was what it was. He lost. A lot of people say he looked real bad. He should have been retired. All that other stuff. Personally, I hope Pacquiao makes some type of comeback, whether it's doing some type of exhibition or whether it's doing the actual sanctioned fight. I hope Pacquiao does return to the ring, because for Earl Spence to call him out at this point after ducking out of that fight, after putting fans through what we had to go through, hoping for the Pacquiao fight, hoping for the Crawford fight, never getting it, and then having to settle for a Ugas fight, and then to have to watch Pacquiao lose in the way that he did. Me as a fan, I would hope maybe Earl Spence is calling Pacquiao out in some way. Maybe he's hoping that he can get Pacquiao to get into the ring with him, because he did say it was a missed opportunity, which it was, for him to have a passing of the torch. So maybe he's hoping for a big payday fight with Pacquiao. Uh, will that happen? I doubt it. I'm pretty sure Uh, Pacquiao's, I'm hoping he's not done with the sport, but I think Pacquiao might be done with the sport at this point because of all the politics. Fans pushed Pacquiao out of the sports. Fans forced the WBA's hand. They forced them to strip Pacquiao when he shouldn't have been stripped. They elevated Ugas, and no shade to Ugas. He did what he was supposed to do. But for them to strip Pacquiao the way that they did, it was, to me, because the fans were calling for it so heavily. The anti-Pacquiao fans were saying that he was holding the division up. Everybody was saying he was holding the division up. And, to me, they set him up, got him up out of the way, and now we have what we have. And for Errol Spence, man, to bring Pacquiao back up, it just goes to show you, man, these guys, to me, they duckers, man. They cowards. They wouldn't talk tough when they were in front of him, but they would talk tough now that he's gone and try to use his name for clout or publicity. Clout, I guess, is what the young people call it. But for him to bring that name up, to me, it shows that the fight's probably not selling that well. He needs some. They need to they need to stir up some more fanfare in the fight. They need to get people more involved into the fight. So, hey, go pull Pacquiao's name out the hat. Pull the Pacquiao name out. Hey, Pacquiao, I'm better than Pacquiao at this point in my career. Well, you had an opportunity to get in the ring with him, whether, you were hurt or not. You saw the version of Pacquiao that came to the Ugas fight. So, even a hurt version of Spence should have beat Pacquiao. To me, that's why I was so disappointed in him pulling out of that fight. I'm like, these guys claim to be so good, but every chance they have to prove how good they are, they end up, you know, uh, kitty catting their way out of the fight, to say it lightly. A Spence duck with that fake eye. That's how I feel too, Lamb. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when they saw those training tapes of Pacquiao, it changed their mind about that fight. It's similar to they didn't want another Keith Thurman situation. You see, they trying to build Thurman back up, saying that he's back and he deserves these title shots based off of Mario Barrios' fight. And Barrios was coming up in weight, didn't belong in the ring with Thurman. Thurman should have been fighting a much better fighter, a Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, even a Adrian Broner, somebody seasoned, somebody proven at 147. But once again, as fans, we always get cheated. We always, look what happened. I didn't even watch I was gonna cover the guy. What's his name? I can't. Josh Taylor fight, and I just, man. Something told me before that fight, don't even waste your time. And you end up getting some type of weird, controversial decision out of it. And boxing to this point is so much politics involved. It's hard for me as a fan to watch. It's hard for me as somebody who likes to cover boxing to even sit back and talk about the sport at this point. Personally, I don't even like talking about the sport sometimes at this point, because we're not getting the fights that we deserve, and we're definitely not getting the outcomes in these fights that we deserve as fans. And sometimes I just want to go back to making fishing videos. What's good? Who else we got in the house? We got a few people in here right now. What's good with everybody? What's good? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Uh, as far as what Earl Spence had to say about Pacquiao, personally, I do feel like it was publicity. I don't think at the end of the day he would even entertain a Pacquiao fight if Pacquiao decided to come out and say, "Hey, well, if you feel that way, if you beat Ugas, uh, give me the rematch Ugas was supposed to be giving me." I don't think Earl Spence would even entertain the fight. I think he would move on to maybe one of his mandatories, or quickly dismiss it, or or try to go after a Crawford fight. And I think Pacquiao would still be a dangerous fight for anybody to get in the ring with him. Listen, whether it was the massage that messed him up, whether his head wasn't in the right space, whether the senatorial duties bogged him down. It could have been a million things of why he lost that fight. But he still did go 12 rounds with Ugas. He still did look pretty impressive. I think and he was coming off a 2-year layoff. So if you can give Keith Thurman the benefit of the doubt, you should be able to give Pacquiao the benefit of the doubt as well. You should be saying that Pacquiao, you should be giving him more accolades for that Ugas fight than I think people even give him. Uh, it's like I was saying, similar to what Errol Spence is doing, is similar to what Floyd Mayweather did to Pacquiao after he lost to Marquez. He came out of the woodworks and started talking to, I would have did this to Pacquiao, I would have did that to Pacquiao. But it was Marquez who won the fight. It's funny because it's almost like people gave Mayweather credit for beating Pacquiao when Marquez is the one who knocked him out. It was like people were giving. It was weird. It was like, yeah, Mayweather knocked him out too. Mayweather. They wasn't even talking about the fact that Marquez knocked him out. They were more of giving Mayweather credit for him beating Pacquiao for some weird reason. It was every boxing fan I ran into. Well, Mayweather would do this and that. I'm like, well, Marquez is the one that knocked him out. So why ain't you saying? Why ain't you giving Marquez his praise? Marquez is blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So boxing is a weird sport. Boxing fans are even weirder. Covering boxing is a whole nother animal, man. It's what makes me walk away from this stuff sometimes. Because I know it's a lot of BS. A lot of pretend support. A lot of people say that they support you, but they really they don't really support you as much as they might think that. Cause I mean that last live I did, man, I'm on there, we chopping it up. I couldn't even get 3 or 4 likes. I had like 20, a bunch of people in there, and it is. But if you go over to these other guys, these other people's lives, and you see some of the same people in there, and that of course they lighten. But that's a whole nother topic. Uh, Earl Spence and Pacquiao. Listen, I would definitely want to see that fight as a fan. I would still want to see that fight as a boxing fan, and I would hope with all my might that Manny Pacquiao decides to come at least say something. Whether he decides to come out of retirement or not, that's a whole nother question. But I would hope Pacquiao at least addresses what Earl Spence said, because I think that it was a disrespectful comment. Errol Spence should have just dead at the question, like, Pacquiao's retired. There's no need to bring him up. But for him to bring him, he brought Pacquiao up for a reason. Personally, I think it's publicity. They need to sell that Ugas fight. I don't think as many people are interested in that Ugas fight as people might have thought there were. Bringing up Pacquiao's name always gets you extra views. It stirs up the Pacquiao fan base. Pacquiao's fans are very loyal. We are very loyal fan base. We gonna defend our dude. At least the real ones ain't gonna defend they do. The homie. So I think that was more publicity than anything. But as a Pacquiao fan, I would like to see Pacquiao address that. Team Pacquiao address what Earl Spence said, and give because Pacquiao really never gave us a statement on why he performed the way he did in the Ugas fight. He did say that his legs went out, but he never gave a full. Especially when people started throwing the conspiracy theories out there about the massage and whatever, getting overtrained, all the conspiracy theories. He never came out and addressed the issue. So I would like for Pacquiao just to, because that's one gripe I do have about Pacquiao. He'll let people talk all type of trash about him. He normally just proves it in the ring, but now that he's retired, I would love for Pacquiao to start addressing some of these dudes and setting them straight, because I definitely don't think Errol Spence is a better fighter than Pacquiao. Not even at this point. Not even after the Ugas fight. I still don't think he's a better fighter. I want to see him prove it in the ring. Talk is tough and it's cheap. You had your opportunity to prove it in the ring and you backed out of the fight. So for you to bring Pacquiao up now, it shows some cowardice. I understand it, it's promotion, it's free promotion, it gets people stirred up. But it's cowardice, man. And you know, I got a little more. I had a little more respect for Errol Spence up until that point. Up until he said that, I'm like, man, you know, that made me lose a little respect for Errol Spence. To be honest with you, I'm like, you know, damn, this dude got some effing nerve to call Pacquiao's name out after backing out of that fight. You got some fucking nerve to call this man's name out when you had the golden opportunity to knock him into retirement. And and to further that, Ugas couldn't even stop Pacquiao. He took him 12 rounds. He took him the full 12 rounds. Ugas gave him everything he had, and still couldn't put Pacquiao down. Still couldn't stop the Pac-Man. So, to me, I think that's a lot of haters coming from Errol Spence, and I think that's his way of poking back at us, you know, Pacquiao pundits, Pacquiao analysts who called him a ducker or who called him all these things. It's his way of coming back and throwing a dart at us for saying he's a ducker, for saying he ducked that fight. But me personally, I feel like Errol Spence. I feel like Errol Spence is the better of the two fighters when it comes to him and Terrence Crawford. At this point, until they get in the ring, I do feel like Errol Spence is the better. I feel like he earned his position a little more than Crawford did. That's as far as my respect goes for him now. Because at first, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt a little bit, but now I'm like, you know, for him to kind of slander Pacquiao in the way he did in that press conference. I'm like, you know what, this dude is a real coward. This dude is a real snake. And you know, I don't have nothing good to say about Earl Spence no more. You know, as far as him and Terrence Crawford, I will say that he's the better of the two fighters at this point. But I do feel like he's a little snakish, and he he's no better than Mayweather to me at this point. He uses golden opportunities to promote himself when he had absolutely no reason to even bring Pacquiao's name up. You know, whatever reporter was asking him that question, or was repeatedly asking him about Pacquiao, he should have been like, well, Pacquiao's retired. The fight never happened. You know, let's move on. You know, for him to say he's a better fighter and didn't even get in the ring with Pacquiao when you had an opportunity. The same way that Terrence Crawford. Now I'm giving Terrence Crawford more credit because at least Terrence Crawford didn't try to slander Pacquiao. He didn't. He just basically said the fight wasn't made. Bob stepped in. You know, he never said I'm a better fighter than Pacquiao. You know, he never tried to slander Pacquiao's name. For Earl to slander Pacquiao's name kind of makes me look at Errol Spence a little different at this point now. You know, as a Pacquiao fan, I'm like, this dude got some effing nerve to speak Pacquiao's name in that way, and to say that he's better. You know, you haven't proven yourself to the level of a Manny Pacquiao, and you'll never prove yourself to a level of a Manny Pacquiao. They got like 20 more fights to add to their resume just to get on Pacquiao's level. And you know that goes for Mayweather. You know, I would say the same thing if he tried to slander Mayweather's name. These dudes are not on them dudes' level. You know, my boy back. Tashawn, what's good? What's good with you, man? What's good, boy? Had to take a little break, man. It was the YouTube the YouTube world was getting a little frustrating to me, man. I had to take a little break, man. But to be honest with you, man, if he was slandering Mayweather's name like that, if he was slandering Margarito's name, you know, even though Margarito got caught cheating, Margarito, uh, you know, he's still a proven fighter. He went through a lot of wars. How many of those wars were, you know, cheater wars or stolen war? You know, but he's a proven fighter to me. He's a last generation proven fighter, and I don't feel like none of these new dudes could have contended with a lot of those older fighters. Whether Pacquiao belongs in a ring with Errol Spence at this point, or in your opinion or not, Pacquiao did a lot in this sport and did way more in this sport than Errol Spence will ever accomplish, and especially the 147, 140, 135. You know, whether Earl Spence goes up to 157 and makes a new legacy, that's still to come. You know, at this point, uh, there is no comparison between Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is 60 times better a fighter than Errol Spence will ever be. And I just feel like it's completely disrespectful for him to speak Pacquiao's name like that. And I hope Pacquiao is just make a statement. You know, it don't have to be a big statement, but he needs to address that. You know, his team needs to address any level of disrespect that comes his way, because he's a legend and he don't deserve no disrespect. Because if they were talking about Mayweather like that, Mayweather would have already been on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that, defending himself and shutting them dudes down. You know, they would never speak a disrespectful word about Mayweather like that. For them to speak a disrespectful word about Pacquiao, like I said, man, it changes my opinion about Earl Spence. It changes uh it doesn't change what he's done in the sport as far as Crawford Spence goes, but as far as him speaking on a legend and putting himself in legendary status, and I'm going to say one more thing about that: the Crawford Spence fight is going to define both of those guys. Okay, the Crawford the Spence fight is going to set the history books. Whoever wins that fight is actually going to be the history making fighter. It's not. It's so until they actually make that fight, neither one of those guys can even try to compare themselves to any last generation fighter. None. I don't care what fighter you pull out there. But since I am a Pacquiao fan, what's good, boy? Where you been? What's good, Caps? What's good, man? Good to see you, bro. Glad everybody's here, man. Everybody's doing all right. But I appreciate you for stopping through, man. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on here, y'all, but I'm definitely try to put in the effort for the day, man. But until those two guys battle it out, until those two guys get into the ring, Spence and Crawford get into the ring with each other and actually get it on. Neither one of those guys are history making fighters yet. Neither one of those guys' legacy or resume can compare to a Pacquiao, a Mayweather, a Marquez, a Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya, and I can pull a bazillion names out of the hat, and refer you to a bazillion last generation fighters that are better than both of those guys, and for them to show such a level of disrespect for and it's always Pacquiao who gets these shots thrown at him. It's never, like I said, they would never disrespect Mayweather in that way. I know he wouldn't disrespect Mayweather because Mayweather's a part of PBC, so you would be degrading your boss in a way. But they're not disrespecting other fighters' names. You know, they're not throwing other fighters at names from the last generation out there. And it's only Pacquiao whose name was getting slandered by these younger fighters. You know, the Broners, the Thurmans. He got an opportunity to fight those fighters and beat them. And the ones that are actually calling them out are not the ones who are actually beating him. It's the same thing like I was saying earlier about Mayweather. Mayweather did all that talking about Marquez beating Pacquiao, but at that point, you couldn't knock Pacquiao out. So why are you trying to take credit, or why are you trying to, make it seem like you would have knocked Pacquiao out when it was Marquez who knocked Pacquiao out? Give Ugas. Ugas is not out here slandering Pacquiao or disrespecting Pacquiao. So why is Errol Spence? He should. If anybody should be saying these things about Pacquiao, it should be the guy who beat him, not the guy who ducked the fight, not the guy who walked away from probably the biggest payday of his boxing career, not the guy who took an eye injury after the Danny Garcia. You know, if you had an eye injury, it didn't come from sparring. It came from that car accident, and you already had it. And you decided to pull that little goose out of the out of the gander, and as soon as Pacquiao released that training footage, and to me, that is it's all coming out now, and I felt like this was gonna happen. I'm like, you know, when people started talking to Pacquiao's holding the division up, and then they stripped him. I saw the ball rolling. I saw the future that was coming for Pacquiao. I saw that, you know, they're gonna get this guy out of the way, and neither one of these guys, I know Crawford nor Spence is gonna actually fight this guy. You know, whether they set a fight up or not, you know, they're not actually gonna get in the ring with that guy. And it played out. You watch my old videos, you know, go back and watch what I was saying back then about how all this was going to play out. And it basically played out exactly the way I said it was going to play out. And he got put into that Ugas fight, and it was a whole horrible situation for Pacquiao. He should have never been in that situation. Pacquiao, when he stepped foot at PBC, should have either been fighting, it should have been Keith Thurman and then Spence. And that was it. You know, the two champions, that's all he needed. He shouldn't have been playing around with the Broners. He shouldn't have been playing around with the Ugas. You know, as soon as they told him, well, we'll replace Spence with Ugas, he should have, nah, I'm all right. You know, I'll wait. Either it should have been I'll wait, or you got to give me more time. Because for them to throw, you know, the conspiracy theories, some of them are ridiculous, but things are set up in boxing a lot of times. And I don't want to sound like a disgruntled Pacquiao fan, but the disrespect level that Errol Spence showed for Pacquiao by saying that, you know, as a fan and as a guy who was trying to give Spence a little bit of credit, you know, like I always say, I don't really have no respect for this generation of fighters, for what they do when it comes to not challenging themselves. So I was already trying to give, you know, Spence more credit, because he did go through a pretty tough road to get his belts compared to Crawford. But at this point, I'm like, F this, you know, F this guy. As a Pacquiao fan, I'm like, man, F this mother. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, at the end of the day, you could have fought Pacquiao. You could have fought Pacquiao. You had to fight it set up. And if you are that good, you would have beat him with no eyes. You know, for people are saying that Pacquiao looked horrible versus Ugas. And these are the same people saying that Ugas is going to beat Spence. So I'm like, if Ugas couldn't he couldn't knock out the old Manny Pacquiao. He couldn't stop the old Pacquiao. He couldn't do what Pacquiao did to a very young, on point Keith Thurman. You know, why are these guys taking shots at Manny Pacquiao? Why is it now, let's take shots at Pacquiao? And to me, the only thing is the fight's not selling as well as what they wanted to. And for you to poke at Pacquiao is to poke at a giant because of his fan base, and it's going to have people talking. So I feel like it's a lot of promotion, publicity, uh, for him to have done that. But at the same time, as a fan, I'm like, man, I hope I hope Pacquiao responds. I don't really care if he actually gets in the ring. I just want him to respond in some way and make some type of statement, man, and let these dudes know I will come back and lay the smack down on you boys if I have to. But we'll have to wait and see. As a Pacquiao fan, man, I'm real disappointed in Errol Spence, man. I'm real disappointed in the homie Spence, man. I thought I had a little more respect for Spence. Hey, ain't nobody poking that boot. And that's what, you know, you bring up a good point there. And that's kind of my point of the rant that I just went on, is basically basically that you guys want to you fighters of this generation want to call out everybody but who are the biggest challengers to you. You could have made Spence could have wavered on the price and made the Crawford fight. Crawford could have accepted the 60-40. One of these guys should have fought Boots by now. One of these guys should have fought Virgil Ortiz by now. Both of those guys passed on the Pacquiao fight. One of those guys passed on the Pacquiao fight twice. So, for them not even to be calling guys, he did mention Boots. He mentioned Boots, so but it's like, why mention Pacquiao? You should have been mentioning Boots. What you were saying about Pacquiao, you should have been saying about Boots. You shouldn't even brought Pacquiao into the conversation. It's disrespectful. It shows how cowardice this generation of fighters is. It shows it shows the real disdain I think a lot of people have for Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao, in a lot of ways, is a victim of his own success, and the fact that he doesn't speak English very well Pacquiao. I will say this about Pacquiao: he should have took more control over his boxing career, and I think a lot of the disrespect comes from him not being able to communicate the way Americans we can communicate a certain way. And being that he comes from the Philippines, I think and that he's a nice guy. He's all around nice guy, so he doesn't get disrespectful really ever with anything except unless he's in the boxing ring. So I think the language barrier, his personality, and the fact that he didn't really control a lot of his boxing career, it allowed for these guys like Mayweather and other fighters poke to take shots at Pacquiao, and for Pacquiao to kind of just brush it off and go prove it in the ring. But sometimes you want Pacquiao to just lay into these dudes. You want to see Pacquiao go off sometimes. Like, man, y'all motherfuckers got some mother nerve to be talking to me like that. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see Pacquiao at least respond. Like, man, you dudes y'all really ain't shit. Y'all really ain't ish, and I, y'all really ain't for real. I want to hear Pacquiao say that one one time. I just want to hear about y'all ain't for real. Y'all ain't for real. Y'all dudes is a joke for real. Y'all won't fight each other. Y'all couldn't have survived in my generation. And I went down to Ugas is a good fighter. I give Ugas a whole lot more credit than I give both of those dudes. Ugas took out the legend. Ugas is the only one who deserves to be saying any of this stuff about Pacquiao. So when any of these other fighters are out here blabbing, it's all for publicity. It ain't even to be taken serious, because the only person who can for sure say that they got the best of Pacquiao is that dude behind me, is Ugas. And if it ain't coming from Ugas' mouth, they just really need to shut up about it, because y'all had your opportunity. Both of y'all had your opportunity. Crawford had his opportunity. Spence had his opportunity, and they both backed out. They both pussied out of the fight. So it is what it is at this point, unless Pacquiao decides to address it. I hope he addresses it. As a Pacquiao fan, I'm gonna address it. I didn't even want to come back. I was like, so I was happy on vacation. Citizen Earth, what up, Red? What's good with you, boy? I was, I was on vacation, man. I was chilling. Until I saw that. And I saw that. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting sick of both of them, bro. Hey, real talk, bro. Real talk. Like, man, both of these dudes are like, they 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 both hype jobs for real. You know, and to be honest with you, them dudes, boxing needed and 147 needed new stars. You know, Mayweather left, Pacquiao was gone, Cotto's gone. You know, Margarito. You know, all these guys they left the sport, so boxing needed new stars, and really the old Mayweather fans made Spence and Crawford because they gravitated towards Spence and Crawford. They left Mayweather. Mayweather's no longer real boxing. So they went from Mayweather to Spence or Crawford fans. And this is really the reason that the whole Pacquiao's holding the division up. That's really where they came from. It really wasn't that Pacquiao. It was really the old disgruntled Mayweather fans were mad that Pacquiao still held a title and was still relevant within the sport, and Mayweather was no longer relevant. So they made that whole campaign. They didn't really care that one side was Spence fans and others. They teamed up on Pacquiao to get him out of the way. So at that moment they all came back as one big coalition of old Mayweather fans and got Pacquiao out of the way. And believe me, it was the noise that they were making that made the WBA strip Pacquiao. And I think after they stripped him, they kind of regretted the decision because I think they saw that Ugas is not as big of a star as Pacquiao. It's probably never going to be a big star in the sport. And it's fun. It's crazy because after this fight, everybody's going to go back to forgetting about Ugas. Once again, Ugas is just going to be a good fighter who nobody talks about. I told y'all a couple of, I've been saying this for a while. Ugas is going to end up being the biggest loser in this situation because he took out the legend, and all Pacquiao fans hate him for taking out the legend, and he's going to lose to Errol Spence, and he's going to get forgotten about again. What it do, Red Divine? What's good with you, bro? What's good with you, man? All the old faces coming back through for your boy. What's good? Unless Ugas wins after this fight, what's next? Who you talking about for Spence? They right let's see. They set Pac up with Ugas with no footage of Spence training to fight Pac. Ugas was training all along for Pac. Pac would have uh beat Spence slow as Crawford know that slow ass. He ain't no Crawford. You know what? As far as unless Ugas wins, listen, I don't. If Ugas wasn't, if Ugas was a top ranked fighter, he would have a chance of winning. But I think because of Ugas, hold on, y'all, hold on. Yo, yo, what's good with you, bro? What you up to? We talking about what Spence said, man. We talking about what Spence said about Pacquiao. Just breaking it down. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about, though. What's good with you? Hold on, let me check his audio. Make sure your audio. I don't think they can hear you, man. I've been tried this so many times to run the audio through the. You got to call me right. Call me right back, bro. I'm about to switch something on there. Call me. I might make it run through my cell phone. Call me right back. All right. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let's change something real fast. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? All right, go. Hold on, y'all. You called back too fast. You called back too fast, bro. You get a chance to turn it up. Bro, you You called back too fast. I ain't get a chance to turn. Call me right back. Yeah, yeah. I turned it on. You call right back. It should go through my cell phone there. All right. My bad, y'all. My bad. My bad. I get this right. I've been trying to figure out how to run this stuff through the program I use, but for some reason it don't be like I don't know why it's not coming through my phone. Oh, there we go. Yo, yeah, they should be able to hear you now. Man, I've been alright, bro. How about yourself? You been good? Man, just basically talking about like I said about what Earl Spence said about Pacquiao, about him being a better fighter than. What's your opinion on that? Who's the better fighter? Yeah.
Pacquiao's older, man. I think a prime Pacquiao would give all these welterweights some problems. So,
And
yeah,
that's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying. It's like you can't even the way he
yeah,
said
he's
it,
up there.
it's like he said it. He said it like disrespectful. Like at this point, I'm a better fighter. At this point in my career, I'm a better fighter than Pacquiao. Everybody knows that, but at prime for prime, you know what I'm saying? Because Pacquiao's
Right.
retired at this point, you know, so you can't even really compare the two now. Now, if Pacquiao was to come back and still challenge him, I still think Pacquiao will give him a run for his money. Whether he beats him or not, we would have to see. It would depend on the version of Pacquiao we get.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. I think that Pacquiao we last saw against Ugas, man,
You
his
think that's the
leg.
real Pacquiao? You think that's the version? That's what's left of Pacquiao?
Oh man, he's been doing it for so long, man. I just didn't see them legs, man. The legs is what held Pacquiao up, in my opinion. I mean, that dude had a motor on him like a bunny.
I mean that
I
yeah
mean,
yeah. I totally agree. I do feel like that there was he definitely was missing a gird, but and
yeah,
I think he could have.
yeah,
But that's the
exactly.
thing about it though, because he could have won that fight if he would have just put some speed in there for 1 or 2 rounds. He would have won that fight. You know what I'm saying? So I I I,
Yeah,
I
but
still
let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this. I see what you're saying, but I think that's more Ugas because Ugas lets to let guys get off on him a little bit, like what he did with Sean Porter. You know, Ugas has a style where he'll sit back a little and give you an opportunity to kind of catch him. A guy like Spence who throws that many punches per round, I mean, he's not going to give Pacquiao room to breathe. So I think it's when you talk about the styles between the two, if you would have put Spence in there with that version of Pacquiao,
yeah,
man, I
that
don't know,
version of
bro.
Pacquiao he definitely would have beat. I
Yeah,
won't
but
say
a
he would have
prime
beat him,
Pacquiao,
and I wouldn't even go as far as saying because Ugas couldn't stop him. Ugas like it wasn't like Ugas stopped him. It was a good fight. It's just Pacquiao didn't do good. That's the weird thing about that fight. It's not that Ugas did anything spectacular. It's that we didn't see the normal Pacquiao. So everybody feels like
right?
Pacquiao was done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, man. Do you think Pacquiao's coming back?
I think it's a possibility. I don't think he's gonna win the election. I did feel like if he won the election, he would fully retire, but I don't think he's gonna win. And I hate to
Okay.
say that, but based off what I be hearing from Filipinos, it's like even his fans ain't voting for him. So I don't see him winning. I don't see him winning that campaign, and you know campaigns cost money, so he's gonna have to do something in the meantime other than just be a politician. You know he's gonna have to have some more money coming in.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that there is definitely a possibility. Whether he comes back and challenges those guys, that's a different question. He,
Right,
he,
right. I feel you on that, man. I don't know. I didn't get your take on there's a lot of boxing going on, man. It's been a minute since I've been on the channel. I know we got Spence and Ugas coming up, but what's your thoughts on if Spence is successful against Ugas?
I'm,
What's the next move after that? Are we gonna see undisputed against Crawford?
I
And if
think that's
so, how did the negotiations go with that one?
I think it's a no brainer that Spence wins that fight. I don't feel like it's in PBC's best interest to have Ugas win at all.
Right,
And
right.
whether he's a
I
better
agree.
fighter or he could beat him, I just don't feel like it's business. I feel like it's business at this point. It's business for Spence to win. It's business for them to try at least to make that Crawford fight. It's business for them to put him in there with Keith Thurman. As much as I think that fight sucks, but I think at this point it's all business. So I definitely think he beats Ugas. And as far as his next fight, I would hope it would be Crawford because I want to get that whole situation over with. But
Hmm.
I see Keith Thurman in there. I see Thurman in everybody's future.
Okay.
I see Keith Thurman, Errol Spence next. Because it makes sense for PBC money wise to make that fight. They gonna make money off that fight, whether fans like it or not. I know there are PBC fans that like it, but me personally, I think it's a waste of time. But I think that's coming in the future. I would like to see him fight Boots. He did say something about Boots in that press conference, but I highly doubt that's gonna happen. Uh, is it gonna be Crawford? I don't know. We gotta see what Crawford's gonna do. Is Crawford gonna stay independent? Or is he gonna sign? I think that's the biggest question. I think that's the biggest question. We gotta wait and see what Terrence Crawford's gonna do. He's kind of it's
Yeah.
like he's holding it up now. They were complaining about Pacquiao holding the division up. Now it's Crawford kind of holding the situation hostage. I mean, as
Yeah,
long
and
as
I
he
think
don't
we
accept
talked.
the fight, there's always that fight to be made.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last time I was on your channel, man. Like, no matter what Crawford decides to do, he has to go sit with Al.
Yeah,
If he wants to
eventually.
jump up to 54, if he wants to stay at 47, he's gonna have to go speak with Al, man. And um, somebody said something. I forgot which channel it was, but they said Crawford has an opportunity to kind of get a one up on Spence if he can sit with Al and somehow get his way into the 54-pound division
I mean,
and
that's
then
true.
campaign
He
there for.
he could leapfrog him. I've said that before several times. Is that he has an option of going up there and fighting Charlo, challenging Charlo. If he beats Charlo and wins the title, it opens a whole new door for him. It actually makes him the A side in that fight because he would
Right.
be 154. That would supersede 147. So he would end up being the A side. So he could leapfrog the situation, but would he be willing to drop his title if he won? That's the biggest
Yeah.
question mark there. Is he would probably have to end up dropping that 147 title, and then that would open up a bag of worms too because all Earl Spence has to do is just stay at 147 and not move up. And then Crawford would be stuck at 154. So not really stuck because at that point he would be making a lot more money fighting the 154 fighters, but there would still be doubt in everybody's mind of whether he would beat Spence. Everybody would still bring that up.
And I think he'd make less money if he did that move because what's the mandatory split? Is it 25, 30%
For for
for the
for Crawford,
yeah, for Crawford if he
Charlo.
fought? Yeah, as a mandatory split, it's like 25 or 30 when he can negotiate potentially 40% with the Earl Spence purse,
That's why I
which
was
is
like,
more
man,
money
he
at
made
that
a
point.
mistake not taking that 60-40. He made a huge mistake. And I think that's what drove the split between him and Bob Arum. I think Bob Arum probably turned that 60-40 down on behalf of ESPN, because I keep bringing that up, that basically that extra 10% is ESPN's money, and they want rights to to the TV stuff, just like Fox is gonna want rights to that TV stuff. So in Bob Arum's best interest, he had to turn it down on ESPN's behalf. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't accept 60-40 because they're not gonna be involved in the fight. One of those companies was gonna get cut out of the deal. One of those companies was not gonna be able to get TV rights over that fight, and I'm pretty sure that's why Bob Arum turned it down. But I'm pretty sure that's probably what T turns Crawford off about Bob Arum. It's like, man, I'm stuck. Oh, I'm stuck having to let you make these decisions that are not really in my best interest. That we can keep making these in-house fights, but it's 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 not what I want. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the reason he really walked away from Bob Arum.
Well, let me ask you this, and I agree with you, man. It's in his palms now, right? But what if he doesn't go sit down with the PBC and Al Heyman?
I keep telling y'all it ain't happening in 2020. That was my whole push when at the beginning of the year, is that fight is probably not gonna happen in 2022. It's probably gonna get pushed out another year. And
Yeah, then I'm be honest with you, man. If it don't happen this year, then I'm gonna lose interest.
and that's what I'm saying. As a boxing fan, it's like it's pushing fans over the edge. Like, man, this is just getting ridiculous. We went through this with Mayweather and Pacquiao. We went through this with all these other fights. Like, I can't believe y'all still doing this. At this point in boxing, I can't believe these boxers are still doing this. But it is what it is, man. A lot of people are gonna lose interest in that fight.
But you know what? I give Pacquiao credit because when him and Floyd talked, Floyd kind of told him, "Hey, you gotta leave Bob. You gotta leave Bob." And Pacquiao left Bob.
He did.
And Pacquiao spoke with Heyman, and they made that fight happen. The fighters. So, like you
But
said,
but but they made the fight with Bob, though. It was it, but
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
I
You're right.
think
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that hurt Pacquiao, and because Mayweather got everything in his favor. I think if it was a Pacquiao promotions, Mayweather promotions, I don't think that fight would have went the way it went.
You're right. I'm getting the timeline confused. He left Bob after that.
Yeah, he
Right?
left Bob after that. It
Gotcha.
I think that was more. I think they goaded him over there. I don't even think he wanted to go over there. But a lot of people talk about how they dangled that Floyd fight in front of him. And like I said, Pacquiao don't control his own career. It's not him in the negotiating room putting this stuff together. It's his business managers and stuff bringing proposals to him. There's no telling what deals, the sideline deals they cutting behind the scenes on Pacquiao. Which is why, even though he left Bob, he didn't really leave. He didn't do what he was supposed to do, was just take full control. Oh, which I mean, in a lot of ways he can't because of the language barrier. He's always gonna have a middleman and everything. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately for
Right.
him, he was always gonna be a middleman in everything he did in the sport, and unless he became better with his English and took more control over his career, which it just didn't happen.
Right. I agree, man. I agree. Um, yeah. To go back to the original question, man. Pacquiao, his legs just weren't there in that Ugas fight, and I think that late switch played a part. He's training for a southpaw that entire camp. I would have loved to see Earl and Pacquiao for August, the original date.
Yeah.
I think Pacquiao was primed and ready. I think Earl was motivated. Big payday for him. So I think that late switch kind of messed with Pacquiao a bit.
I I, I, I definitely agree that I mean, go watch that ES News video with ES News told him. that Errol Spence pulled out. Just look at the look on Pacquiao. It's funny now I'm thinking about it, but it was pure disappointment. It was like his soul got sucked out of his body. He wanted to kick the ass after Kai and cry. It was that bad to me. I mean, just watch that video. It says a lot about. I think he just gave up at that point.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out, man. You think about it, because he was coming off the Thurman win. Um, I mean, that would have been a big fight, him and Spence.
And
That would have
that's
been a
my thing.
big
It's
fight.
like, what took so long for them to make that fight? It was like they could have made that fight at any point in that 2 years. But for
Right.
some reason it took 2 years for them to even try to put the fight together. It's like they weren't even thinking about it.
Right.
They're not even thinking that they got Pacquiao and Errol Spence sitting right there in front of them for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? I understand Spence went through the accident. Not too. What was it? Right after the Thurman fight, or right before the Thurman fight. So he couldn't
Right.
have immediately fought Pacquiao, but it was still a year in there to where they just sat around with Pacquiao and Ugas on the same. Y'all got both of these guys. I mean Pacquiao and Spence, and y'all got both of these guys, and y'all not putting them in the ring. There's a reason to me that they didn't put him in the ring at that point. And it probably
Yeah.
was because they felt like, Spence was still damaged and Pacquiao just did what he did to Thurman. It was even more of a risk at that point.
Same with Crawford. I said the same thing. Like, Spence don't need to get in there with Pacquiao, Crawford. Hell, even Thurman coming off that loss against Pacquiao. I just wanted to see Spence back in the ring, get that rust off, see if his body could hold up. And I thought he did okay against Danny. Not his best performance, but he held his own. Um, and I'm looking forward to seeing him against Ugas. I'll be in the stadium.
You gonna be at the
Got my
fight?
tickets when they drop. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and
Oh
my
man, you
partner.
definitely got to tap in with me, man. Yeah, you definitely got to tap in, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure, man. For sure.
What they doing? It's gonna be in
I'm looking
Vegas.
forward. No, it's in Dallas. I'm
They
in Houston, so
it's,
it's about a 4-hour drive.
they gonna do it in Houston.
No, in Dallas. I'm
Oh,
in
in Dallas.
Houston, so
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
in the stadium in Dallas, in the stadium. I thought the stadium was in Arlington.
Yeah, it's in Arlington, the Cowboy Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like a 40-minute drive.
hell yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Hopefully we can get that Crawford and Spence after, but you know what? Crawford's business move, man. He's a great fighter, but this fight should already be taped out.
Yeah.
He should have already spoke with him, and as soon as he made those comments about Bob after he knocked Porter out, you know, I'm leaving Bob Arum. He's not getting me these fights. He should have been inked a couple fight deals with the PBC.
And
The fact that we don't even know, it's
that's
like,
why I
I don't
feel
even.
like, and this is my thing about these two dudes. It's like I feel like Crawford used the Bob Arum situation so he don't have to talk about Spence, and then you got Spence now using Pacquiao's name to try to sell his fight. It's like, but they're not talking about each other. Neither one of these guys is like,
They never talk about each other, man. It's like some weird ass shit.
it is.
Y'all
It's
the best
weird, man.
welterweight.
It's definitely it's definitely an odd situation in boxing. I don't. I think this situation is even worse than the Pacquiao Floyd situation, and
No, absolutely.
it's not even as much money involved as it was in that situation.
Right, right. No, and that's the crazy thing is everybody tries to make it about splits. None of these guys are doing off a
Nowhere near.
pay-per-view buys. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Nowhere
It's
near.
easy negotiations. But you know what that it puts in my head that these two guys are on the same level of talent. And I think both of these guys understand that when they get in the ring with each other, they're gonna fight to the death. I
And
mean, both of those guys, in my opinion,
And that's what I was saying before you called is that one of these here's the thing about it is that one of these dudes is at risk of becoming irrelevant after that fight happens. So I
Exactly.
feel like both of them are kind of dragging this out because they know they know it.
They know.
They
They
know
know.
they
Exactly.
like we got to drag this out as long as we can because one of us is going away after this happens.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
might
I
still
feel
fight.
the
One of
same
them,
way.
they probably will still fight, but they're gonna be irrelevant at that point. I mean, one of these dudes is gonna be crowned the king, and the other one's gonna just kind of get forgotten. There might be a rematch, and then if he loses the rematch, whoever loses the rematch is definitely. If you lose twice, you definitely gonna be irrelevant.
Exactly. That's why I agree. I agree. They're stalling it out, man. And there was one point a couple years ago I thought Spence would work Crawford, but due to his accidents and um, surgeries, the layoffs, and Crawford kind of growing into the division, like now it's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. And I agree, Cardinal. When they get in that ring, somebody's gonna get knocked out. That's how I see it. Because both of those guys like to stand in the kitchen sink and throw,
Yeah.
and it's gonna get moving. Uh, the ring's gonna be cut off, and it's just gonna be hands thrown, and it's gonna be one person standing after that. So it could be Crawford or Spence. I'm not sure, man, but
You know,
that's what makes you great, man. That's what makes you great.
exactly, and that's the reason why I can't respect neither one of these guys until they get in the ring. You know, I you know
Exactly. Yeah.
the last generation had to show and prove, man. These dudes should have to show and prove. The money that boxers are making is killing the sport. The money these dudes is making is what's killing it. Because if they wasn't getting these huge purses, they would be forced to fight each other. You know, making
Right.
all that money is just it's killing the it's taking the passion out of the sport. They these- they negotiate fights like that, like they don't even that like the fans don't even exist. Like we don't like we ain't the ones paying y'all bills. You know what I'm saying? It's like we the last thought. Like who cares whether they watch it or not? We don't even care if they watch. Put these fights together like they don't even care if we watch them. Like they know
Right.
who we want to see fight each other. Like, but we never get what we want as fans, man. And hopefully, I'm hoping. I feel like Spencer's gonna win this Ugas fight, and I'm hoping he does go ahead and fight Crawford. Who's gonna win? It's 50-50, like you said. Whether you feel like Spencer's the better fighter or Crawford's the better fighter, until they actually fight, it's 50-50 at this point. It's the money's not 50-50, but the fight is 50-50.
I agree. I agree. Um, so let me ask you this before I let you go, man. I'm gonna be in the building. You think Crawford's gonna be in the building? You think Spence gonna call him out after?
Oh, he's definitely gonna be there. Whether I know both of these dudes. I don't watch the other ones fight. I don't, but they rely on. They need each other. The each.
Yeah.
One's career dictates the other one's career. So whether he's hiding in a press box or he stays in the back and don't. He's gonna be at the fight. He might not show his face publicly, but he'll be there.
Hey man, I might go live, man, and tune in on my stuff. I might go live and
Definitely.
show the call out and all that. So
Definitely. I definitely got
for
you, bro.
sure.
I appreciate you for calling in too, man. Voicing your opinion, man. I definitely appreciate that.
Hey, nah, man, you one of the best out there, man. Call in real quick, man. I
Man, like I
appreciate
said,
it.
I had to take a little break, man. But I'm gonna try to get back to it, man. I'm trying to get back to it, man. So stay
For
tuned,
sure,
bro.
man. For sure. I will, man. Take care.
All right, you too, big bro. Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Let's see what y'all saying. Boots went to top rank. LOL. Did he for real? I gotta look that up. Did he actually sign the top rank? Cause man, I could have saw that coming from 20 miles away. You just joking with me, Tasha. Let's look at this up. Boots Ennis. He signed with Top Rank. What's the Boots news going on? What's the Boots news? I'm playing. Okay, yo, don't get me amped up like that, cause you know what's going down if he signs the Top Rank. You know what the business is. You know what's coming next. It's gonna be a whole lot of turns, Crawford, yada 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 happen. You don't want it with me. I mean, because I think he would go after Crawford if he signed with Top Rank. He would immediately go after Crawford. I don't think. I think Bob Erm's a very shrewd, very calculating businessman, and he would definitely sick that pit bull on Crawford. Now, I don't think Crawford is stupid enough to take that fight at any cost. I don't think he would take that fight at any cost. Uh, no, I don't see it happening. I don't. They could offer that man $100 million. He wouldn't take that fight. He would be better off just waiting for the Spence situation to clear up. Because I think Boots would beat him all the way back to Omaha, Nebraska, or wherever he's from. He would beat the bejesus out of both of these guys, really. Uh, well, would be an interesting play for Boots. Since he can't get none of these other guys, maybe, and as a Pacquiao fan, I would hope he would call out Pacquiao. Go fight Pac. Go see if you can get a fight with Pacquiao. You know, because if Pacquiao was to beat Boots, oh boy, would that open up a whole new can of worms. If Pacquiao was to beat Boots, hmm. I'm gonna leave that conversation right there because I doubt it would happen. But very interesting. You can't get one of these other guys to get in the ring with him. But there's always, Pacquiao, you know, he's always around. He might be retired, but he's always around. All right, y'all. I've been out here too long. I think I'm gonna end it right there for the night. If you ain't got nothing else to say, let me see what Avarn Marana says. Can Spence fight Ugas in just 10 days like Manny Pacquiao did? Late change of opponent in just 10 days, which means change of game plan. Interesting. Let's say Ugas got injured 10 days before the Spence fight. Would it be fair for them to throw Spence in there with Thurman? Because I would give Thurman a better shot of beating Spence if on some last minute stuff. Because like he said, man, it's shady to throw a fighter in there who's prepared for another fighter on a 10-day notice. Now Ugas did get a 10-day notice as well, but there are plenty of people out there saying that he already knew he was gonna get that fight, and I kind of feel like that as well. I feel like that fight because like I was saying earlier, uh, there was 2 years Pacquiao was just sitting around doing nothing. They could have made a Pacquiao, Mikey fight. They could have made a Pacquiao Thurman, rematch. They could have made a Pacquiao Ugas fight. They could have made a Pacquiao Spence fight, and all that time, but for some reason, they waited until the perfect timing. They waited until they stripped Pacquiao, and they waited until Ugas was ready. So, we're gonna leave it there for tonight, man. We'll move on to something else. Hopefully, manana. You ain't got nothing else to say. What do you say? Sean Porter should fight Boots. Hmm. Porter and Boots. I think Porter should stay retired. Porter don't want that work. Porter just got humiliated by Crawford. I think Porter Thurman would be a better fight. Now, I think that's a good fight. Porter Thurman would be a good fight for both of those guys because it would be the battle of the comeback. You know, Thurman's been gone for so long. Porter took another loss. So for one of those guys to get back into the upper echelon of 147, they should have to fight each other. If not, if Porter's gonna continue to fight or if Thurman's gonna continue to fight, the road to those titles should have to go through Boots, though. Even though Boots is not a PBC fighter, Boots is the third in line now. It's Spence Crawford Boots. At this, if you ask me, you could go Spence Crawford Virgil Boots, or you can go Spence Crawford Boots Virgil. So either way you want to put it, you know, Sean Porter called Boots overrated. I've called Sean Porter overrated. I don't know how many times I've said Sean Porter was completely overrated, but you know, Sean Porter has fans, so I don't want to disrespect nobody, but I don't feel like Sean Porter was even on Crawford or Spence's level. You know, I you know, if you had to level it out, I would say as far as welterweights and PBC go, it would have been, and you got to throw Crawford in there as well, even though he's not a PBC fighter, but it would have been Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia. Actually, I would say Ugas, Sean Porter. You know, Sean Porter's like the fifth, maybe even sixth ranked name at just at PBC. If you ask me, he's not even the top tier. I would say it, bro. He's not trash, but he's not the top tier. You know, he's definitely, I would say he's better than a Danny Garcia. He would most likely beat a Danny Garcia, a Mikey Garcia, you know, a Barrios, some of those type of fighters. But I think he would have trouble with Thurman. I think he would have trouble with Spence Crawford. I think Pacquiao would have beat him if they would have fought. I don't think he's the top tier. I think Boots would beat the crap out of him. And we still don't even know how good Boots is yet. We're basing out all this Boots hype off the fact of his skill sets. Now, he hasn't fought, you know, any upper echelon names yet, but based solely off his talent level, he's the best dude out there right now. You know, his skills, visually looking at his skills, they're better than Spence and Crawford. You know, looking at him, you can say his talent level is better than Spence and Crawford. He does things that Spence and Crawford can't do, and definitely he would beat the crap out of Porter. But I think I'm in the third, man. I'm about to get out of here, man. I appreciate everybody. Salute, salute, salute. Try to be back out here tomorrow if I can. If not, I'll be back. You know. Hopefully sooner than later, man. Hit that like button for me. If you ain't hit the like button, hit the like button. If you ever want to be featured, you know, call in. You know, the number's down there. I can feature your content. Let me promote your channel for you. You know, if you're real, you know, you stuck with me for a while. You know, you come through your comment. You know, holler at me. I'll put your channel somewhere, you know, and leave it up there for the whole time I'm live, man, so people can check you out as well, man. Maybe it'll get you a few more subscribers. If you got some footage you want to send me, I'll play it for you in the background. Other than that, it's your boy Cardinal Red. I think I'm out of here for the day, man. Y'all be safe. Be safe, man. And tell Errol Spence Pacquiao ain't gone just yet. We out of here.
Dance to this. Yeah. Is you ready for me? Is you ready for me? Is you ready for me? Is you ready for me?
Nigga. Spotless.
Check it. Check it. Is you ready for me? Is you ready for me?
This ass gon' go right here. Yeah. Line 'em up. Yo. I pull up in a throwback car, gray 7-8 with the top that's hard. I'm finna plane it back, send it on black tires. Fuck a backseater, got its own backyard. Niggas act hard, try to put a Mac card. Stunt in front of they dame, they playin' back far. Cause they get they ass kick in front of they chick. And the niggas that they was with dip. Ain't that a bitch? Young keys flow under the weather. Come through something real big under the leather. Lil' mama, get your mind out the gutter. I'm talking about that 9, motherfucker. I grind like a hustler, CDs, tapes, the weed, whatever the case may be. I chase that cheese and never ever face defeat. Now watch how I say stampede. Here we go. Niggas know what's up. Sick flow, sick beats, finna blow us up. Thick hoes, thick freaks, finna blow us up. Hit dro, hit sweets, niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My dick is down.
Niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My dick is down.
I pull up with a throwback dime. She say she's 25, she at least 29. But man, them hips on her, lips on her, finna let it rip on her, flip on her, then dip on her. This is for them classy chicks, them undercover nasty chicks, them trashy chicks. Ain't scared to flash me quick. Oh, look at that ass, she thick. I can't let you pass me, miss. Off the chain, young keys spitting hot flows off the brain. Holla at me when you're ready to get off the lanes and on some real shit. I'm the one you deal with, feel me? Run game like Diddy in the marathon. Get shitty, drop 50 on the marijuana. Either give me 4 ducks or pearl swans. Young keys, S and I Don. Niggas know what's up. Sick flow, sick beats, finna blow us up. Thick hoes, thick freaks, finna blow us up. Hit dro, hit sweets, niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My dick is down.
Niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My dick is down.
Take money, get money is my slogan. I cop what you guys is boasting. My game worldwide like oceans. Getting at these chicks, I leave their brain wide open whenever I'm in motion. I put the pedal to the floor and I'm coasting. Don't be them niggas that'll eye shit up, side shit up. Cause I'm in them brand new J's and I tie shit up. Around here, we Kentucky fry shit up. House, car, I keep an ounce in the jar. Next to the drink, on top of the bar. It's the S to the R. Who's fucking with us? I turn your stomach to a bucket of guts, for really though. Can't mess with no silly hoe. And I don't give a fuck if she looking like a broad off a video. They got to have it, knowing that my money stretched like elastic, but they ain't getting jack shit.
Niggas know what's up. Sick flow, sick beats, finna blow us up. Thick hoes, thick freaks, finna blow us up. Hit dro, hit sweets, niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My dick is down.
Niggas know what's up.
Can't hold me down.
Niggas know what's up.
My dick is down.
Niggas know what's up. Niggas know what's up. Niggas know what's up. Niggas know what's up. They ain't ready for me. 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 Spotless. The old faux show. Ho. D slugs. Young Keys, the monster. Sauce one on the beat. Niggas know what's up. And I'm out this bitch. Sick one right here, man. Niggas outside, they slangin' that ride. Chicks on the side, they slangin' that. Nigga like me, they making CD. Chicks making money, they breathing up. I said everybody
everybody gotta get paid. Said everybody gotta get paid. Said everybody gotta get paid. I can't hate you, dog. Get your pay.
Hey, yo, I came up. Louisville, West End, nigga, 22nd Street today. And ain't nobody really paved the way. So I'm out here struggling, trying to make my way. I see lax, bourbons, nigga, North's watch. At the same time, I'm smoking on a talk stop. I'm thinking of his ways to get my bread in. But now it's a dead end, and plus I got dead friends. And my people just got out of that pen. Yeah, I should've wrote him, but you know how that is. Niggas see me rolling, cops pull me over and they mad it ain't stolen. Money be folding. You know I'm trying to rescue my nieces and my nephews, put them in a prep school. I suggest you approach respectful. I'm all about them big checks, dude.
Niggas outside, they slanging that rock. Chicks on the side, they slanging that. Nigga like me, you making see. Chick making money, I know. Said everybody gotta get paid. Said everybody gotta get paid. Said everybody gotta get paid. I can't hate you, dog. Get your pay.
Hey, yo, I came up. 45th Street, West End, Louisville, back in the day. And I seen a few niggas let it use them up. And I seen a bunch of niggas cause I moved a bunch. I seen fiends, gangsters, niggas bout they bread. Nigga try and hustle and they turn up dead. And a nigga see me rolling, think I'm about that money cause he see my teeth golden. I ain't got no dope, man. You know I'm trying to bless you. My flow is special, and plus I rap too. And it ain't just downtown, Westport, nigga, hustle on this round.
Niggas outside, they slanging that rock. Chicks on the side, they slanging that. Nigga like.
In the North Pole, shorty move your torso, let your back porch roll. Louis skis is more so, when they getting more dough, put it on my wardrobe. Take a little more dro, higher than the fourth floor. Got some fans, but I'm trying to let some more know. I'm the real deal, y'all faking like the Yorno. Pretty soon see your boy at award shows. I keep a chick with a stash like hormones. I gotta get it, okay, I gotta get it, okay, I gotta get it. Okay, I gotta get it. Okay, I gotta get it. 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 Now break it down. Okay, 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 now break it down. 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 International player, but I don't play no games though. It would be smarter you just to hand over my peso. Beefing with a rapper, I just show up at your stage show. Hide in the crowd, then hit you from the 8th row. Think not, I think so. We make dough. Y'all try but can't though. They lame, so I'ma show them how to do it. Louisville music in the rental cruising. It's Louis. I gotta get it. Okay, 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 I gotta get it. 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 Now break it down. Okay, 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 now break it down. 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 Now break it down.
This is the part of the show before we thank everybody for coming out.
That's coming out.
Dead Dose on the track.
Dead Dose.
Boy Louis Keys.
Okay.
It's a movement, man.
Okay. Whoa. It's Martin Luther Keys, hallelujah, hallelujah. You supporting local rap, then I salute ya. I keep a chick, gotta drop her not to do her. You keep a chick that look like Louis Gossett Jr. Increase the volume, what I'll do. Leave the track messy, clean up Al too. The game change whenever I bring my style through. And your style's through. This is for the crew. I gotta get it. Okay, 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 I gotta get it. 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 I gotta break it down. Okay, now 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 break it down. 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 Now break it down.
Keys to the City, Volume 1. Yeah. Check. Hey yo, I been all over the map and I'm back with my new shit. That ruthless nigga Lewis. Ask around, they tell you who the coolest. Fool with a knack of finding where the loot is. Truth is, they see me and they ask me, how you from the Ville? Niggas know you in Pulaski. How you from Kentucky? Your CD in California. Nat Town to Georgia, back down to Florida. Track sounding gorgeous till it's rigor mortis. Bet you see me on the run like I'm Clinton Portis. Doing what I gotta do to come up on the fortune. Looking shorty courting, but she won't get a portion. I'm more than anything you ever seen. Niggas ain't got a duck, but they better lean. Nowadays I'm the same, but it's better green. Flow amphetamine, keep a scam and a scheme. It's blackout and spotless. You can't hate when you see what I've accomplished. On the road, moving CDs out the boxes. Going with my niggas, switch your sweets by the boxes. I'm throwing rhyme bombs, call them Brian Brown. My team step in, setting off the fire alarm. It's high temperature, KY pimping in your face. I'm running game and I'm dipping with your mate. Zooming down the interstate, on my way to Tennessee. We got a nigga late. I got a few warrants, no conscience. I'm supposed to be low, but still the money's important. And my peoples wanna see me prevail. Out the trunk with it, tryna make a CD sale. At the same time, the devil wanna see me in hell. It's a 50-50 chance just to see if I fail or not. Cause all them things cracking just to distract me and keep that bill on the map, shit from happening. I got my focus on high beam. Mr. KY King, sorry if I seem out of place. I ain't used